He said he was afraid of the night. City of Shinto, Kurikaza District, Block 4, Semina Apartments, 11th floor, room 2. That's where he lived. His name was... well, let's just call him Mr. A. Mr. A was a student and having just turned 20 had moved in at the beginning of spring. This was the first time he ever moved, the first time he ever lived by himself, the first time he was in an unfamiliar neighborhood. While Mr. A, an introvert by nature, still felt lost, he was adjusting to life in Fuyuki gradually. Mr. A was comfortable being alone in the first place, and never seemed to care about having few friends or living amongst strangers. Rather, he preferred things that way. Mr. A, who would shut himself in his room, apparently liked not having his new life disturbed by anyone, be it friends or family. Mr. A was satisfied with his life, except for two things. The long hallway leading to the entrance, and the hopeless thoughtlessness of the family that moved in next door 1 month prior. Where is this going? What was unsettling him began since he moved into the apartment in spring. What his parents had set up for him was a blah 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 yen monthly 4-bedroom apartment. The size was nothing to complain about. While Mr. A loved being alone, he had an inclination towards luxury and didn't favor living plainly. When it came to the dwelling, the bigger the better. To someone like him, who hated the outside world, this place was like a fortress. So he's a neat? Is that what we're getting? It had to be large and solid. It couldn't be easy to reach. He couldn't reflex or relax if it wasn't impenetrable. That's right. It wasn't that Mr. A liked being alone. It was the issue of others being near. He was unconsciously afraid of someone other than himself intruding into his space. There was another reason why Mr. A chose Semina Apartments. It was the distance from the living room to the door. The long hallway was the first and last obstacle to pass through in order to enter or leave the apartment. The 4-meter long oh, that is a scary hallway actually. The 4-meter long hallway stretched in a straight line from the living room to the door. There were neither storage rooms nor a bathroom along the way. It was an unusual hallway for an apartment to have, but it seems Mr. A took a liking for its length. It took up the ideal amount of space and was an ideal entranceway. The far-off separation from the entrance was not so much a medium between inside and outside, it was more of an ambiguous boundary. It was unnatural. One could say that the hallway itself was the real entrance. However, once he began living there, something about the hallway started to worry him. With such splendid length, what could possibly worry him about it? After being puzzled for several months, he finally figured it out. It was simple. The long hallway had no lights. It looked like a structural flaw had left no space to install any lights. The hallways of the other apartments had them, but only in room 2 of floor 11 were they forgotten. How stupid! Not that the worker had forgot to install lights, but himself, who had noticed only now after living there for several months. Come to think of it, he had already made a wrong turn the moment he had failed to realize what was amiss. Fall came, and new tenants moved in next door. They were the kind of happy family you could find anywhere. A young married couple and a 3-year-old daughter. The only contact he had with them was limited to a simple greeting when they were moving in. All Mr. A knew was their surname, blank, and the daughter's name, the Gino from Super Mario RPG. Semina Apartments is an L-shaped building, with only 2 apartments on each floor. At the center is the entrance into the building, and each apartment occupies the entire horizontal or vertical part of the L. Oh wow, that's weird. That's interesting, actually. Kinda like that. At the entrance, there's a door leading to the elevator and the emergency stairwell. Sometimes Mr. A would meet the couple at the entrance, but on rare occasions he saw all alone by herself.
お兄ちゃん、ボタン押してくれる?
Whenever they met, she would say that. The elevator buttons were slightly above her height. It was not too high for her to reach, but for some reason she never raised her hands above her shoulders. Huh? Well, he thought it was strange that the 3-year-old girl would go out by herself. He did what the girl asked. And he would not see her just on the 11th floor, but also on the entrance of the 1st floor. He would find the girl crouching in front of the elevator as he was coming home and leaving. She would raise her head and say, looking up at him, "Oni-chan, won't you push the button for me?" After having that exchange over and over again, Mr. A learned the girl's name. He did not remember it, however, because Mr. A had no interest in other people. Instead, he called her Little Red Riding Hood, because she always wore a red hood. I don't know who this could be. I'll say it again. Mr. A was an introverted young man. As long as his lifestyle wasn't threatened, he did— Is this Yoshikage Kira? As long as his lifestyle wasn't threatened, he didn't care about the outside world. Be it, for example, an argument heard from the other side of the wall, the sound of little girl crying once every other day. Oh no! A woman's screams that could only be described as shrieking, the girl not being able to raise her arm above her shoulders due to a neglected bone fracture, or the wearing a red hood to hide the bruises on her face because her father told her to. Oh no! Oh no! Oh jeez! Well, that stuff only concerns other people. The ruckus of the neighboring room was only about a meter away from the door, but who could blame him? It was, after all, a long hall. The source of the screaming was several meters away, and he had inevitably had to ignore it while watching TV. But on that night, it was especially loud. A blood-curdling scream, the siren-like crying, then the sound of a door being opened violently, reverberating in the entranceway. Then the sound of something banging on Mr. A's door. That night had been aggravating to Mr. A, who had been quietly enjoying a late-night broadcast at 2 a.m. Oh, your life sounds miserable. He was about to get up and ask them to behave like reasonable human beings. And so get up he did, but soon he sat back down. It'll probably end soon anyway. Their affairs were none of Mr. A's business. Butting in at this point would get him overly involved, so he avoided thinking about it. Whatever it was, it's their own responsibility. People ought to handle their own problems by themselves. And so Mr. A took a remote and raised the volume by 5 bars. By the end of the night, as he was turning off the TV and falling asleep, the usual nighttime silence had finally returned. The family's gonna be dead tomorrow. The next day, Mr. A learned that there had been a family suicide next door. It was the first time he had ever been questioned by the police. The night before, after having an argument, Mrs. X murdered Mr. X with a blade. After slashing her only daughter, she took her own life. When asked about it, "I slept like a log and didn't hear anything," was Mr. A's answer. The officer thanked Mr. A for his cooperation and was about to leave. As he was walking away, Mr. A just asked one question.
一人娘はどうなったのでしょう?
Lowering his eyebrows, the officer replied,
凶器には血液反応が残っていますから、刺されたことに間違いはありません。血痕からして致命傷であったと考えられます。
Except, the young officer muttered uncomfortably.
遺体がないんですよ。どこにも。部屋にも。逃げ出した後のエントランスにも。
What happened was simple. After being stabbed by her mother, the Little Red Riding Hood seems to have managed to escape into the entranceway. At that point, however, the trail stops. The bloodstains stop in front of the elevator.
なぜエレベーターを使わなかったんでしょうね。
Oh my god, it's Mr. A's fault.
そもそもどうして隣室のあなたに助けを求めなかったのか。いくら錯乱していたからってチャイムを押すぐらいはできたでしょうに。
Oni-chan, won't you push the button for me? Mr. A couldn't bring himself to say that either button was far out of the girl's reach. The officer left. Mr. A remained standing in the doorway deep in thought. 2 o'clock at night. He pictured the little girl, escaped from her crazed mother, but unable to leave the entranceway. Desperately banging on Mr. A's door on the verge of collapse with a tear-stained face. And in the end, the girl's body was never found. Several days passed. Late at night, always at the same time, Mr. A started noticing a strange noise. The noise itself wasn't loud. He didn't pay attention to it, it was almost inaudible. At first, Mr. A didn't think what it could be. He told himself it was just the wind shaking the window. The noise came back every night. Bang, bang. It was a noise that was faint enough to be non-existent, It was getting on his nerves. Those are the worst noises. When he realized that the noise wasn't from the window, but rather echoing in the hallway, Mr. A walked down the hallway and brought himself to the door. That was a cool effect. That was really cool. Oh, why is this actually generally spooky now? He asked who it was through the intercom. A response. The moment Mr. A came up to the door, the noise just soft moments ago. Wow, that actually got me. Woohoo, wow, I've jumped in my seat. I'm wearing headphones. No, please don't jump scare, spooky spook. He looked outside through the peephole. I'm scared! A round, distorted view. Nobody was there, just a clean-looking entranceway. Nothing except red specks on the cream-colored floor. Why am I really scary? That... why I was kind of scared, actually. His eardrums felt like they were gonna burst. There was no one in the entrance, but the noise did not stop. No, that noise is terrifying. Maybe there was someone there. Maybe he couldn't see at this angle. The noise continued. Wait, there was something in the peephole just outside his view. Open it. Something red, wearing a hood, was clinging to the door. I'm really actually a little freaked out. No jump scare. No jump. Jeez, there was a jump scare. He ran back down the long hallway. The clock was showing 2 a.m. Those late-night visits became a routine event. The noise continued every night. Mr. A never opened the door. Is this the Japanese version of the Telltale Heart? Then one night, it happened again. It was insignificantly quiet. He could have just brushed it off as being part of his imagination. But now, it had been an unavoidable angst that had stained his brain, cutting away at his nerves like a blade. Yet with each day, Mr. A's mind was being cornered. It was the end of autumn. He could now hear it no matter what time it was. Oh, this is literally the Telltale Heart. That night, he came to a decision. He would see for himself what was clinging to the door. He walked down the long hallway. The light from the entranceway leaked in from behind the door, passing through the unlit corridor. Oh boy, he pushed the door open. There was nothing there. There was no one there. The painful knocking that had been echoing in his skull was gone as well. Of course there was nothing. Something that ridiculous couldn't be true. There had never been any noise. There had never been a red hood. Laughter and relief mixed together. His chilled body rapidly regained its warmth. Just been hearing things. Somehow, it had seemed that the incident had gotten to him. Without realizing it, he had felt guilty and developed paranoia. That was all over. It all ended the moment he opened the door. Wiping sweat off his forehead, he closed the door. Once he had locked the door, he raised his head. Before his very eyes, down the long, dark hallway... No! Why? Why is this spooky? Down the long, dark hallway that he had been so fond of. His eyes widened. In the middle of the corridor, there was something. Wearing a red hood. A familiar dead body. It seemed to be pleading at him. Somehow, Mr. A knew it'd be the last thing he would hear before his death. From within the darkness, its lips moved. Like a watermelon that had been bored into with a knife. With a blood-stained voice, the Little Red Riding Hood spoke to him.
お兄ちゃん、ボタン。
Oh my god.
なんだよそれつまんねえよっていうかなんでそんなに演出家なんだ実際三つ釣りデテール凝りすぎ芝居うますぎあと話長すぎそもそもなんだよその演詞そんなにヤバい状態になったら引っ越せもう引っ越せよ
October 11th, past midnight, in the guest room at the Ryudo Temple. Makadera Kaede's shrieking voice resounds through the fall sky. Remember her? She was in, like, one scene in the original. I don't even remember her name.
それができたら苦労しないでしょ
あんただってあんな家出てってやるなんて言ってもう何年よ。人間ね、多少の不安より愛着を取るもんなの。みんながみんな幽霊一匹で住処を移してたら、今頃この島はもぬけの殻になってるわ。
眼蓄のある言葉だ。
I don't think you're
なるほ
in
ど。
Stay Night
我
at
々と
all.
階段は切っても切れぬ関係にある。時に牧寺、長廊下のお釈子様は健在か？
いいねっつーの。我が家にそんな偉そうなやつはいないね。あと夜中になったら雨降ってないのに廊下が水に濡れたりもしないね。祖先が瀬戸内で海賊なんてやってもいないね。そっか、牧寺んとこも古い家だったっけ？何？廊下の話は鬼門だった？うるさい、廊下なんて怖くねえ。最新のおしゃれなマンションに引っ越して。で、その鬼門
Yeah,
って
here
な
we
ん
go.
だ？新しいチャクラか？
Yeah, what is Kimon?
チャクラを知っていてなぜ鬼門を知らん？
Also, the last person to be having a sleepover with a bunch of girls would be you, bud.
鬼門というのは良くない方角。強調を表す言葉だ。
Oh, it's feng
細かく
shui.
言うのなら北東の方角。
All right.
つまり
I didn't know that. Ryudo Issei, the son of the Ryudo Temple's head monk and the president of the student council. This is why they're here. Issei, who came with us as a supervisor in his official role, briefly glances at me.
おお、さすが寺の息子。ちゃんとしてんじゃん、そうい
Wait,
うとこ。
are we Shiro right now?
けど今はお断り。私が聞きたいのはもっとコスモな話なわけ。幽霊とかそういう話はお門違いだね。
What do you mean cosmic? Like space cosmic or cosmic horror? Which is worse?
ほら、もっとさ、
Oh,
当坂んちには江戸時代に
literally
隕石が落ちてたとか、冬木の地下には大空洞があるとか、そういう現実的な話をしろよな。
Yeah, but that second one, haha.
いや、今のは十分に現実的な話だったと思うが、先ほどの実話だが、廊下で少女と出会ったということは、真犯人は A 氏で、廊下の壁に死体を隠蔽していたという話だろう。
カネちゃん、それも階段とは趣旨が違うと思う。
But it doesn't defeat the point of a story. Also, who are you?
現実的な話をしろって言われてもね。怪談話を何だと思ってるのよ、牧寺は。まあ、とんでも話なら遠坂の管轄だから待ってればいいの聞けるんじゃない？
Oh, she's here. Yep.
それはありません。牧寺さん好みのとんでも話は知りませんから。
Tosaka counters elegantly. That's her usual manners at this sort of gathering.
そりゃ失礼。じゃあマトは？一年の誰かがマト首相はああ見えてすごく怖いとか言ってたけど。
Oh boy, can he be?
私ですか？別
Wait,
に怖い
wait,
話が
wait, wait,
好きな
wait,
んじゃなくて、階段に強いだけなんですけど。
wait. Captain Mato. Does that mean Sakura? Because when they said Captain Mato, I thought they meant Shinji. But if this is later and she becomes the... Okay, actually, maybe it's her.
ところで三辻先輩、そんなこと言ったのは誰でしょうか？そういうところが怖いんだって気づきなさい、桜。
She has a little underlying scariness. She lets out quietly. No one here knows that Tosaka Rin and Mato Sakura are sisters yet.
和むのはいいが、まだ始まったばかりだろ。続けるのか続けないのか。俺としてはこれ以上牧寺が騒ぐのなら、会を中止させなくてはならないのだが。
そうよね。眠ってるお坊さんたちにいい迷惑だし、牧寺がもう叫ばないっていうなら続けましょう。騒いでないじゃん。三辻の話がつまんないからダメ出ししただけじゃんかよ。
She's one of those types that doesn't realize she's loud, huh? I know that type all too well.
問題はそのダメ出しが次にもあるかということでしょうね。牧寺さんに我慢しろというのは呼吸をするなということと同義だから割と絶望的だけど。
As in it only lasts so long, or as in someone dies?
どう？ 牧寺さん、呼吸止められる？
止められる。私陸上の次に水泳得意だし。
I thought she was gonna say the second best thing I'm good at after track is dying.
だそうですので、このまま続けましょう。次は三枝さんかな。
けど私階段ってしたことなくて、
大丈夫、無理に怖がらせようと思わなくていいから。綾子のは実際あった話を脚色したたちの
Was it?
悪い話でね。牧寺さんが怖がったのはセミナマンションの事件を知っていたからだろうし。
Oh, that makes it spookier.
そうなんですか？
セミナマンションの一家心中は実際にあった話だ。その1ヶ月後、隣室の青年も行方不明になり、捜
Ooh.
索願いが出ているのも事実だぞ。
Will this actually be part of the plot? Or is this funsies for funsies' sake? Yeah!
やめろよ。エースの兄ちゃんはなんか理由あって自分探しに旅立ったんだよ。素敵なサムシングなんだよ。いつか一回りでっかくなって帰ってくるんだよ。
You're the best.
もうそんなかっこいい兄ちゃんにおかしな失踪理由でっち上げるた。なんて少年の腐った女だ。三辻綾子。
本当にいなくなっちゃったんですか、英子さんって。
ああ、同じマンションの住人が言うのだから間違いない。そうだろう、三辻城。
Wow, you can tell they're getting so like there's been practice with the effects because I love this faux 3D thing going on.
そういう話だからね。
That's really good looking actually.
とまあ、私ほど脚色せずとも実際にあった噂話だけで十分ってこと。牧寺は怖がりだからね。三枝さんもその線で攻めてみるといいよ。誰かに聞いたお化けの話とかない？
それなら何個かあります。皆さん窓辺の幽霊って知ってますか？2学期から広まりだした噂なんですけど。
何それ、私は初耳。
お化け洋館の人影ですよね。弓道部の1年生たちが話してたような。
Hits a bit close to home, doesn't it, Sakura?
はい、そのお化け洋館です。なんでも冬季のどこかに使われていない洋館があって、夜中に近づくと2階の窓辺からこうじーっと見つめてくる人影があるそうです。
ああ、人影ってどんな人影よ、ゆきっち。つうかさ、冬季のどこかにある洋館って何？
それは私も知らないんだけど、あんまり人が寄りつかないお屋敷じゃないかな。
See, I'd mentioned how weird it is that there would be a abandoned Western style house, but remember, there's a whole side of town in Fuyuki that's Western style houses, so not as much. It's actually kind of normal.
実際見た人がいるらしいんだけど、たまたま道に迷った時に洋館を見つけたんだって。なんでも周りは木ばっかりで人気がなくて、洋館の2階にいたお化けは女の人だったとか。
何それ、人気のない洋館で女が一人？
Dang.
そんなの遠坂んちじゃん。遠坂、あんたんちお化け屋敷にされてるぞ。
そうなのかな。ごめんなさい、遠坂さん。この話って遠坂さんちのことだったの？
It's actually just Tosaka in the morning, who is absolutely terrifying.
謝らないで、三枝さん。うちがご近所からそういった扱いを受けているのは今に始まったことじゃないし、牧寺さんのような言われなき中傷にも慣れていますから。
Baseless slander wouldn't be entirely accurate. The Tosaka residence is actually a type of haunted house. It
こ
is.
の話はやめて、信徒の話にします。最近夜になると信徒の空に何か大きな糸みたいのが見えるって話なんですけど。
Unsure of herself, Saigusa, I think Saigusa Yukika looks at the crowd. I'd say that she is looking for witnesses.
その糸みたいなのが何なのか見たことある人います？
話だけは聞いてるが、あいにくとまだ怪異には出会っていない。
空って夜空？
Yuzora?
センタービルの屋上に人影が立っていたなんて話じゃないわよね。
具体的な例えだね。そりゃセンタービルの屋上に赤い人影を見たって話はよく聞くけど、三枝さんの話は別物じゃなくて？
I like the idea that just Tosaka stands on top of the center building like every couple nights just cause she likes it. She thinks it's a cool thing to do. Something mysterious about the way Mitsuzuri Ayako looks at Tosaka. As if she knows the truth behind that, Tosaka, who prefers wearing red, makes a sour face. It's been half a year since the 5th Holy Grail War ended. Okay, time frame, good. That means that she's probably still patrolling the area at night.
牧寺先輩は見たことありますか？
ない。だがおそらくは UFO。
あたしゃ読めたよ。牧寺、あんたは階段を勘違いしてる。
Alien ghosts, man. It's just alien ghosts.
そうだな。我々がしているのはオカルティックな話であってコズミックな話ではない。牧野氏、気の毒だがいくら待っても君好みなムームー話に出番はないぞ。
読んでない。あんな面白おかしい電波本なんて購読してないよ、私。
Okay, I'm gonna type in
だってあれ
Moo Moo
すっ
book.
げえつまんねえじゃん。
There's nothing. What is a Moo Moo?
まあそのつまらないところがある意味たまらないのではあるが。ところで神と上空の蜃気楼の件だが。
Everyone shakes their heads. Unfortunately, there are no witnesses. However, I've been getting this feeling from a little bit ago. How should I put it?
そういう噂話なら俺からも一つ。昔から郊外の森には城が建っているという話があるだろう。それに新説が加わったそうだ。何でも城を目指して森に入ると旧帝国軍の亡霊が現れて入ってきたものを戦場に送り出すらしい。で、いくつかの関門を乗り越えた勇者だけが幻の城で一泊できてメイド姉妹に解放されるとかなんとか。
Huh?
竜道くん、何？念願の相部屋で脳みそとろけちゃった？
俺とておかしな話だと思っておるわ。だが実際に見た者がいるのだから仕方なかろう。嘘だと思うのなら一人で郊外に特攻するがいい。
Crap. This is funny.
エミヤは今の竜道の予
I
定
am
話
Emiya.
どう思う？
Mitsuzuri shifts the conversation to me. Up until now, I've been an observer. Oh well, I've been keeping my mouth shut because I don't know how to comment on this, but...
どうも何も一星が作り話なんてするわけないだろ。竜道寺は森に近いし案外本当にあるかもな。
It's not that I have no idea what it might be. Putting that aside for a moment, I feel bad about breaking up the conversation, but I've got to go to the bathroom.
あれ、ちょっとトイレ。誰にも気づかれないようにスルッと戻ってくるんで俺に構わず続けててくれ。いいところで牧寺を脅かすから。
いいじゃん。やれるもんならやってみな。私も女だ。エミヤにゃ負けられないね。
There goes Makidera, as usual, reacting in a weird way. Ever since I started having lunch with Tosaka, Makidera has been acting like this all the time. Yo?